If you want to go from skinny to jacked, this is how I was able to put on around 60 pounds of muscle, and I was able to transform my entire physique in a very short time, about 2 years. And so if you're looking to put on muscle, and even if you're looking to just shred fat, I'm going to walk you through a concept in this video that totally changed my life. I've been able to use this exact same process for many of my clients, especially if they were trying to gain muscle, but even if they were trying to shred fat, become pain-free, become more flexible, really any kind of physical fitness goal. I know a lot of you guys consider yourselves hard gainers, like it's really hard for you to put muscle on if you're skinny. I know a lot of you guys have been consistent putting in that effort and you're not seeing the physical results that you feel like you really should be seeing. And so while this is a super simple concept, I don't hear this broken down in a way that really resonates with people on a core level. So I want to try to speak to you guys from the soul, from the heart, and hopefully we can really connect in a way that makes it easier for you to understand where you need to push to get to the results that you want to see for yourself. If we've never connected before, my name is Zach. I own Vegan Strong Fit, which is a personal fitness coaching program, which I am not going to try to sell you in this video. I just want to establish some credibility so you guys understand that, hey, I've done this stuff, right? I know what I'm talking about and I can get you results too. My fitness journey began at day one. Essentially, my parents had me in swim lessons from the age of 0, and I was always in some kind of organized sporting program all the way through high school, even to a degree now if you consider things like spike ball, going for collective mountain bikes. But the bottom line is that I was always into fitness, but not by choice. And I think this is perfectly exemplified in the moment that I really transitioned from a place of just kind of showing up and kind of just going through the motions to actually putting in the effort and wanting to see some results for myself. Middle school seemed to be the time when people discovered body shaming, and they discovered that there were elements of the physical body that put people in hierarchies above other people, especially when it came to competing for sexual relationships, as sexual as middle schoolers in the early 2000s actually might have been. If you've seen my content before, you know that I have a condition called pectus excavatum, which is essentially where your sternum is receded because of excess cartilage growth on your lower ribs. And because I had these super prominent sticking out lower ribs, kids in middle school, especially in gym class, would tell me that I had 4 nipples. It sounds whimsical and hilarious, but at the end of the day, it was kind of cruel in the way they presented it, and it made me feel a lot of shame about myself. Now juxtapose this with a kid who was already not doing super well in school. I did not have very good feedback from teachers, and even from them, right? Even from the teachers, I was being put down because of my intellect, because of my lack of ability to focus in school. Add that to the bullying that I was receiving about my body, and honestly, showing up to school was kind of a dread for me. The interesting thing though is that I was going to the gym almost every single day starting in middle school, around 7th grade, right? When I was around 11, 12 years old. And I think this is important to note because one of the main things that most fitness coaches will tell you, even I'll tell most people, right, is that consistency is the #1 key above everything else. But I was being consistent. I was showing up every single day, and years went by and I didn't really have any results to show for myself. I am a huge fan of leveraging the teachings that are taught by James Clear in the book Atomic Habits. James talks about how if you want to build a new habit, the most important step is to find consistency in the first step, which is showing up. The first step is not to try to put in a 1-mile run every single day. The first step is to take multiple weeks and just start by lacing up your running shoes. Plug the time into your calendar when you're actually going to show up, and all you got to do is lace up those running shoes. At that point, you're done. You don't actually have to go for a run. You don't have to do anything else. You are solidifying a habit by showing up, and eventually you're going to want to put more effort in. Now, this is 100% true, and it works very, very effectively. But the effectiveness of the first step process assumes that you want to reach the goals, right? You are assuming that, hey, #1, I have goals that are near and dear to me, and I actually want to see them happen. And thus, building off of that first step and eventually seeing yourself do the work in the gym, you can in fact assume that this is going to happen if the goals actually resonate with you. But I didn't have any goals. I was just going to the gym because somebody told me to go. And so what would I do? I would show up. I would do about 1 to 2 sets of very low effort reps on every machine in the gym. And then I would walk around the building aimlessly for the next 30 to 40 minutes waiting for somebody to come pick me up. But everything changed for me in 8th grade when I discovered the person who would become my first girlfriend. I wanted to impress her, but I was at the bottom of the social ladder. And so for the first time in my life, really, I felt this desire to push myself for a change. And like a lot of people, that moment was what triggered me to set myself for one of the most common fitness goals that any of us have: get a 6-pack. Let's pause for a minute. Before we talk about the objective changes that I made, I want to share with you a quote that one of my bodybuilder friends told me relatively early on in my journey that has stuck with me for years, and I really do think that the fundamentals of what this person said are really the keys to bodybuilding. But beyond that, the keys to genuinely guaranteeing that you reach success in any area of your life. I have already given away the secret in this video. The difference between when I first started showing up at the gym and when I actually actually started to see results was a burning desire. What my bodybuilder friend told me that I think is really the gospel to bodybuilding in general was that there are two things that separate a person who is getting results and someone who is not getting results. If they're not getting results, they're not eating enough and they're not pushing themselves hard enough. If they are getting results, they're eating plenty and they are pushing themselves pretty hard. From the moment that I fully committed myself to getting that six-pack, to actually having visible abs, well, number one, it was an extremely short period of time because I was a kid and I was already naturally pretty skinny. But you can see in just a few years, I had not just visible abs, but big abs, strong abs, clearly muscular abs. And in just a few years after that, the rest of my physique was beyond just visibly skinny, right? Just that visibly shredded, sinewy muscle that a lot of skinny people have. And I know I'm biased, but I would say that for a 16-year-old, this is pretty impressive. Did my knowledge change? Yes, it did, right? Did my capabilities change? Yes, they did. And they changed because I was in there, I was showing up, I was putting in the work, and I was going through the 3-step process that everybody goes through when they start getting better and better results. You go out and test, right? From that testing, you get feedback. From that feedback, you change your process and optimize the action and go out and test again. But this all depends on whether or not you're committed. Do you actually have a reason that's gonna push you past the discomfort that it takes to take action? And scene change. The number one mistake that I see people making when it comes to really seeing that progress in their fitness journey comes down to effort. But let's define that a little bit further. People want to make this deep identity change when it comes to fitness, right? That's what a fitness transformation is. It's a change of your identity. What we don't acknowledge is this is not just a change of physical habits. This is going to be a change of every piece of who you are, not just your physical body, but also your mental health, your spiritual identity. When it comes to these things, there needs to be long-lasting change. There needs to be significant change at your core level. The mindset that the vast majority of people have when it comes to fitness is one of trying to find shortcuts. For most people, right, even if they are putting in a lot of work, they are looking for this end result. They're looking for the break periods. They go through the whole week counting their macros, but then when it comes to the weekend, they think, hey, I can take a load off, I can chill, and they go back to eating bad food, drinking, things like that. They think because I have this workout plan in place, I can just show up, go through the motions, and then I'm good, I'm done. I've done my thing for the day. This mentality of just checking the boxes to get to the rest period is why most people don't really see very much progress for a long period of time. Potentially showing up at the gym multiple times a week for years on end, and actually their body doesn't change much at all. Still watching these videos trying to figure out what's the shortcut, what's the tip, right? What's the method that I'm not doing, that I'm probably missing? Meanwhile, I'm showing up here telling you, look, you can just do push-ups and squats and you could still get to a ridiculous physique, assuming that you really pushed yourself. And so this is an actionable step of this video, right? I want you to ask yourself, are you really trying to challenge yourself when you show up for your workouts? When it comes to the healthy diet habits, when it comes to the healthy rest and recovery habits, are you actually doing these things from the perspective of, hey, this is a change that I'm going to be making for life. I'm not just doing a short-term sprint to get a short-term result and then lose all of that progress once I get there because there were not fundamental identity-based habit shifts that happened. We commit to real, long-term, passionate consistency once we set a deep goal, when we have a strong enough why. Once the desire to be this envisioned version of ourselves is stronger than the desire to remain in this comfortable position that actually got us here in the first place, then we can confidently expect this passionate energy to show up during our workouts, to show up in the way that our awareness is raising every single second that we are watching what we're eating, that we are monitoring, hey, is my mental health actually being improved or is it being brought down by this rest activity that I'm engaging in right now? The person that finds long-term success in fitness is the person that is consistent in this identity shift. Even if they don't look like it yet, right? They are mentally in that place where they have already transformed. They're not looking at this new set of healthy habits as this arduous process that they have to struggle and like pull their teeth out to reach. Look forward to the activities. They enjoy going through the activities. And the reason is because it is quite literally reinforcing their perspective of who they are. That new positive identity shift that they've committed to is being reinforced every single time they go through with one of these healthy habits. And so rather than feeling like they're Sisyphus, right? Like trying to push this massive stone up a hill, like struggling and sweating and like, woe is me, this sucks, I hate doing all this. They are smiling and glowing and just rising up to the level of their goals from a place of flow. So if you're struggling to really see the results that you want when it comes to fitness, I got a couple questions for you. Number one, are you really challenging yourself? Are you really pushing yourself? Do you have a strong enough why? Is the version of yourself that you are striving towards something so attractive that everything everything else becomes secondary. Become crystal clear with your intentions, my friends. I promise it will change your life. Comments, questions, need any personal help, drop a comment and I will get back to you. But without further ado, I hope this was valuable. Thank you so much for watching. For those of you that are consistently supporting the content, I love you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Knowing that I'm adding some value to your journey makes the whole thing worth it. And you can pay me back by hitting that subscribe button, hit that little notification bell so you know when my videos come out. Peace, much love, namaste, and I will talk to you guys later.